Today, I want to call and figure out what it takes to become a Boilermaker. Now, what is even a Boilermaker? I'm not even sure. I just know Boilermakers, well, they work on boilers. But what are boilers? And what do Boilermakers do? I know they weld. I grew up, my dad's a pipe fitter. He works at a paper steam mill back where I'm from in Washington. So I'm assuming it's a similar thing, but I really don't know much about it. So I'm going to call the Western States Apprenticeship and see if I can get some answers on what does it take to become a Boilermaker? How do I get started? What does the apprenticeship look like? What does pay and benefits look like? Those kind of common questions, because I was just on their website, couldn't really find any information. So I'm going to try to get some information out of them. That being said, let's hop into it. Let's call these folks.
Western States Apprenticeship Program. This is Rhonda.
Hey Rhonda, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Hey Rhonda, so I just had a couple questions. I'm a young adult and I just want to ask and talk to somebody about the apprenticeship and just add a few burning questions.
Okay. Yeah. So what's your question?
My dad, he's a union pipe fitter. I'm from Washington State. I live in Arizona now. And I was just kind of curious, how long is the apprenticeship? How can I get started? What does a Boilermaker really even do? My dad, he wasn't sure. He kind of gave me a brief explanation, but he just said, obviously they work on boilers, they weld. And I said, well, that sounds like something I'd be interested in. So I wanted to just call and get some more information on the trade.
Oh, okay. So the apprenticeship program, so first off, a Boilermaker, they, as your dad said, they do work on boilers, they do weld, but they also do, rigging, and then they, scaffolding, and the apprenticeship program is, it's typically a 4-year, 6,000-hour program. So the way it works is, first off, you would need to apply within whatever local that you were applying with. And since you live in Arizona, we do have one in Phoenix, Arizona, which is local 627. And so once you apply, you would need to submit just the minimum documentations of a birth certificate and high school diploma. If you have any weld certifications or attended any kind of vocational or community college and taken welding courses, those would help you get to a higher pool, because we do categorize our applicants based on experience. And then we pretty much just wait until a local decides to need more apprentices to add to their program, and then we go from there. So then your apprenticeship officially begins. So there is a little bit of a waiting period as an applicant.
Okay, so as far as doing the work, I'm assuming Boilermakers work on, big industrial commercial things. They have that massive chip plant they're building in Phoenix right now. So what exactly is working on a boiler? Is that has to do with steam and water, right? Or am I?
Yeah, but it does depend on where your local dispatches you, pretty much.
Okay. And
yeah.
With that being said, do you apply at the Western States Apprenticeship? Does it cover all the Western States, or is it depending on local? Because I know there is apprenticeships out there, a lineman apprenticeship my buddy went through, that they have different jurisdictions. They'll have a Northwest, they'll have a Southwest, they'll have a Mountain States, which cover a variety of different states within a region. And then you apply with that apprenticeship, but you could be sent to any one of those states, depending on where the work or where they need apprentices, or if you need hours doing transmission or distribution. Is it similarly operated for you guys as well, or?
It is similar to the way we operate. Our office oversees just the Western states, which is 8 locals.
Okay.
If you have you been to our website yet?
Yeah, I was just looking at the website literally 10 minutes ago, and so I still had some questions.
Is it the Western States JAC.org?
Yeah, that's where I got this phone number from, was that website.
Oh, okay, yeah. So if on the website there is a little tabby that says contact a local, that will have the list of all of our locals, and it does have their jurisdiction color coded.
Okay, but so just to reiterate, if I were to apply, I'm applying for all of the Western states, so I could technically work anywhere in between those states, or?
Well, if you apply with a local, you're working only out of that local.
Okay.
But if
Okay.
you go off of your BDS, you can add other locals to it within the Western states.
I see. Okay, so if I become, you said the local in Phoenix was what again?
Local 627.
So if I apply and I become a member at local 627, let's say I become an apprentice, down the road. Hopefully I do because I'm generally interested in this. You obviously complete the apprenticeship before your apprenticeship, and inside that apprenticeship, I'm obviously getting taught all the, the ins and outs of the becoming a Boilermaker and to become a journeyman. Am I able to travel around to different locals in the country, or how does that work? Do you know?
Yeah, you can actually.
Okay.
You are able to, yes.
Okay, so if I'm a 627 journeyman Boilermaker, I can go work in Washington or New York or wherever there's another local. Do I have to transfer my ticket, or how does that work?
No, so you just get dispatched. So
Okay.
like some of our apprentices get dispatched to like a local out of Alabama, out of like what's the other one, Wisconsin. So it just really depends. So like when you become an apprentice, you have access to what's called the BDS. You can select all locals. You can so then you would be just dispatched to that local. So you can work for any local, but your home local is always going to be your local as far as training goes and other things that you're scheduled for.
Okay, interesting. All right. Because yeah, my buddy who's a union journeyman lineman was telling me a similar thing where he went through the Northwest apprenticeship, which was, I don't know, local 125 in Portland, Oregon. Then he became a journeyman lineman. Now he said he can go travel any other local in the country and just go work there. Just go sign the union books, the out of work books, and then if they have work, he can take a call or take a job and go to work anywhere in the country. So I was wondering if it was similar for you guys as well.
Yeah, you can. It's just as long as like you're dispatched through like your local knows, and it is a union company, then yes, you can get pretty much dispatched anywhere.
I see. Okay. And then I was also kind of curious about like obviously as a union, so I'm assuming you guys have great benefits, and what is the pay look like in benefits? If you kind of just briefly explain to me on that.
So we don't handle the benefits, the health and welfare. We do, the wages change like almost every year. So, and the wages are different within the locals, by state. So like say you were going to apply with 627 now. So like right now, Arizona 627, apprentices coming in start at 25.54.
Okay.
And, our pay schedule is every 1,000 hour you get a pay increase if you meet the requirements. So it's different. So like say you work for you're with 627, but you get dispatched to California, you would be getting whatever pay California has, which is a little higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. That's cool to know. So
Yeah,
then
'cause
I was gonna say then
our health
obviously
and-
for the apprenticeship. So you said it was what, six steps or six periods or something like that?
I'm sorry, what?
You were saying the apprenticeship, you said it's like a 6,000 hour or 4 years,
6,000 hour 4-year program.
and then every 1,000 hours do you step? So it's like a 6-step apprenticeship?
It's one. So you have like so you start out at like a level 1.
Okay.
And then by the time you journey out, you would be at a level 7.
Oh, okay. All right. So instead of being like a step 1 or a period 1, you're a level 1. Okay. And then each
Yeah.
level you're saying you get a pay increase, and is that pay increase based off the journeyman percentage rate? I'm assuming that I've seen that with other union apprenticeships as well.
Yeah, because it is because when you start out, you're at 70%, and then when you get your first pay increase, you'd be at 75. So it's like 5% every 1,000 hours.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's really good to know. And then so you're talking about earlier in the phone call, when you apply and you have any other like certifications or training you have, like you said, if you went to a vocational school for welding is obviously a big part of the trade, I'm assuming. So would you recommend somebody like me? I'm 19 and a half. I'll be 20 next year. Would you recommend someone like me going and spending the time and money to go to a welding school and then apply, or should I just apply now? What would you suggest for a guy like me? Because I'm kind of lost in that aspect too.
Well, you have options once you apply, and because you would have to pass a drug screen. So once you apply and you pass the drug screen, you do have access to ask your local if you can practice welding on their facility. The most program does also have the welding boot camp. That's something that you can look into.
Okay.
But the weld certifications, because a weld cert is it's required prior to graduating from the apprenticeship. And then having a weld certification prior to applying does help you get to a higher pool level, which then in turn helps you get indentured faster. Because anytime a localized indenture, we do start from the highest pool level and counting down based on the number that they request.
Okay, so with the application interview process, so if I apply and I have a welding cert, I don't know, is there a specific welding cert I should have when I apply? Or is it?
We typically look for 2G, 3G, and 4G. At minimum would be 3G and 4G for small flux core, GMAW, and TIG. And then there's also the 6G GPAW.
Okay.
The tube certs.
Okay.
And then that would be the highest one.
Okay. And then within the application process, I know there's other apprenticeships out there that do an aptitude test before interview or during the process. Do you guys have one of those?
No, we don't.
Okay, so there's no aptitude test. Is it just apply? I'm assuming, do you guys have an interview too, or is it you just get thrown in a pool?
No, you just get placed into a pool level, and then you are given the different options to try to upgrade your pool. A lot of people come in with no experience, so we just simply tell them to contact their local to take a drug screen, do their OSHA training classes, and then once they do all that, then they're officially able to go to work for their local.
Okay, so with that being said too, with the OSHA, so if I were to go get my OSHA 10 safety card, that would help me get a better ranking on the pool when it comes to the application, or
for the application process, no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only if you because you would need that to be dispatched through your local, so it's better to just do that through your local.
Okay.
Because not all OSHA trainings are accepted.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, that was just one. That was another thing. As far as certifications go, I know there are, other apprenticeships out there that, by having your OSHA 10 card and your CPR first aid certification or your flagging certification, things like that can help you within the application process for getting a better ranking when it comes to getting called out as an apprentice. And I just wanted to see if, what certifications could help me best get started. So it sounds like getting my welding certification is going to probably be my best bet if I want to go that route before applying. Would you agree?
You would, yes, because if you send the weld certifications along with your application, or you get it after you apply, we would need copies of those weld certifications, and then the next step would be to schedule a hands-on verification. Once you pass that hands-on verification and we hear back from your local, then that gets you to a higher pool level, which would be 2. But again, it does depend on the kind of weld certifications that you have. So if you have the 6G, then we would have to take a look at that, and then that would be a pool 1.
Oh, and you mentioned there that you said there's a hands-on certification you're saying. So if I have a welding certification, whatever, 6C, it doesn't matter, they will bring me in to see my skill with that certification? Is that what you mean by that?
So it's kind of it's kind of like a weld test. You just show that you are capable of welding. Okay. And then they sign off on it. Yeah. Okay. And that would be through your local.
That makes sense. That clarifies a lot for me. You mentioned also earlier there's a lot of rigging. I'm assuming there's a lot of heavy moving parts with you guys use cranes and things like that. So if I had my crane certification, does that stuff help as well?
Honestly, it may, but you would have to go through your local because we don't really deal with the training side. That would be all definitely through your local, whatever local you apply with.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, like with rigging, obviously, I know you can get certifications for like quote unquote rigging, but like would having the ability to like tying knots and know how rigging operates, like sling angles, shackles, and stuff like that. I mean, you were kind of saying that depends on the local and things like that. Do you think that would help if I had that sort of knowledge, just I guess in my pocket?
It would, because then, I mean, because everything, all the training has to go through like most, and it gets posted to your most, and that's what it would go off of.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to explain to me and answer my questions for me. You've clarified a lot for me, so now I have a little bit better understanding of what steps I need to take and what I can do to help me get a better score, better ranking in the pool when it comes to becoming a Boilermaker. Yeah, I was just very confused, and you've clarified a lot for me, so thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're welcome. And then if you decide to what local to apply with, just go ahead and request that apply or hit that apply button on the website, and then it will be sent out to you. Or you can, if you're in Arizona, then you can stop by their local also.
I just wanted to call and talk to somebody and ask them to get a little bit more clarification. Then I was probably just going to drive down to the hall and maybe talk to somebody there and see, get exactly the next steps I can take to get started.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would actually be better, because then they'd be able to exactly tell you how all of that works at their local.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, you have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That's what it takes to become a Boilermaker, get started in the Boilermakers apprenticeship. As you heard there, she gave a lot of good information. Sometimes all it takes is for you just to make a phone call to wherever, whoever you want to get started in a Boilermakers trade or lineman trade or ironworkers or electrician or HVAC or plumbing. Name a trade. They all pretty much have unions. You don't have to call the union hall. You can even call just a company. I've done that before too. I just call a company, ask them how I can get started, what it takes. But for the most part, most of these heavier industrial commercial trades like Boilermakers and linemen and ironworkers, they all have unions and they all get paid really good. They have really good benefits. They have really cool jobs. As you could tell, she had a lot of information about how the apprenticeship was operated, but not so much about like the benefits and the pay and like certifications that are going to help me, be better. Because apparently I have to apply with the union that I want to apply with and not with the whole jurisdiction, like how it is for linemen. Linemen, you can apply with a utility, an electrical utility, or you apply with the outside construction area, which is they all have different jurisdictions. So Northwest, CalNav, Southwest, Mountain States, Albat, NEEP, all the different jurisdictions, you apply with those and not exactly at the union hall. So it's a little bit different operated, but it's very similar at the same time. All it takes sometimes is to make a phone call. And hopefully from this video, you guys learn what it takes. Give you a little bit more information if you want to get started as a Boilermaker. Hopefully you learned from this video, from that phone call, the appropriate steps and things that you can do are going to help you get a better ranking into the pool so you can get called out as an apprentice faster and start working becoming a Boilermaker. That being said, Blueprint, I'm here to expose, teach, and educate you about blue collar career opportunities, things that'll help you in the skilled trades like becoming a Boilermaker. What does it take? With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.